Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The horizon's edge drifted silently through the vast expanse of space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant glow of a billion stars. Captain Adrienne Cole sat in the command seat, her eyes scanning the holographic display before her, showing nothing but the familiar empty void. A deep sense of unease settled over her, a sensation she had learned to trust during her years of exploring the outer reaches of the galaxy. "Still picking up those energy readings?" she asked, breaking the silence. "Affirmative," Captain replied. "AI Unit 5, the ship Cyrus Artificial Intelligence, its voice neutral and devoid of emotion. The anomaly remains consistent. We are approaching the source." Adrienne leaned forward, narrowing her gaze, "And we still have no idea what we were heading into." "Negative, Captain. The energy readings are unlike anything recorded in our databases. I recommend caution." Adrienne smirked. "That sounds your recommendation every time we come across something new." Behind her, Dr. Mason Tully, the expedition's xenobiologist, couldn't contain his excitement. "New is what we were here for, Captain. If these readings are what I think they are, we could be on the brink of a major discovery." Adrienne did share his enthusiasm, but she respected his passion. Tully had a way of seeing the wonders of the universe where others saw only danger. It was a trait that had nearly gotten them killed on more than one occasion, but it also made him invaluable. She glanced at Lieutenant Maria Reyes, her second in command, who stood silently at her station, arms crossed, a permanent frown etched on her face. "Thoughts?" Adrienne asked her. "I don't too like it. Feels too quiet out here, but if Tully's saying right, we might as well take a closer look. Just be ready for anything." Adrienne nodded and tapped the control panel. "All right, Dex, bring us in closer. Nice and easy." In the engine room, Dex Winters responded with a quick, "You got it, Captain." And the ship's sense engines hummed as they adjusted course, gliding toward the source of the anomaly. The closer they got, the more intense the energy readings became. The holographic display in front of Adrienne flickered momentarily, distorting as if the ship itself was struggling to comprehend what lay ahead. Then as they crossed the final threshold, space itself seemed to ripple. "There," Tully whispered, staring in awe at the view beyond the cockpit. It was as if they had stumbled upon a tear in the very fabric of the universe. A rift in space-time shimmering with ethereal light hung before them like a portal to another dimension. Beyond it, they could see a galaxy, but not like any they had ever seen before. "This miniature," Tully breathed. "A micro-galaxy." Adrienne, as jaw tightened. Unit 5, analysis. Scans confirm a micro-galaxy within the rift, Captain. Numerous planetary bodies detected, each with unique atmospheres and ecosystem. However, the rift is highly unstable. I advise extreme caution." Tully was already pressing forward, his eyes gleaming with curiosity. "We have to go in. Just think of what we could learn from this place." Adrienne hesitated, but the pull of discovery was strong. If they turned back now, they might never find anything like this again. "All right," she said, "but we don't stay long. Get what we need, then we re-outrise, prepare the team." As eyes moved to gather the crew, Adrienne felt a flicker of doubt. The rift shimmered with an unnatural beauty, but it also felt like a trap. She pushed the thought aside. They had come too far to back down now. The horizon edge breached the edge of the rift, slipping into the microgalaxy with an almost imperceptible shift in gravity. Inside, the view was nothing short of breathtaking. Small planets orbited in intricate patterns, some glowing with vibrant hues, others shrouded in darkness. Each one seemed to pulse with its own unique energy, like living organisms suspended in space. Adrienne brought the ship closer to the nearest planet, a lush green world teeming with life. "Looks like a jungle down there," she said, studying the scan. Tully's excitement was palpable. "Perfect. I want to take a sample team down, collect data. This is exactly what we've been searching for." Adrienne glanced at Reyes, who shook her head. "It's so risky. We don't know how stable this place is." "We won't, until we try," Tully argued. "Captain, this could be the discovery of a lifetime. We were talking about ecosystems that have never been touched by human hand." Adrienne sighed. "All right, but we do this by the book. No unnecessary risks." "Eyes you. With Tully. Dex, you'll pilot the shuttle." "Understood," Reyes said, already checking her gear. "I've got a bad feeling about this place, but let's get it done." Minutes later, the shuttle detached from the horizon, and descended toward the jungle planet. As they broke through the atmosphere, the dense canopy of the alien jungle spread out below them, a sea of green interrupted by the occasional flash of movement creatures, unseen but present. Dex guided the shuttle toward a clearing, his hands steady on the controls. Touchdown in 3, 2, 1. We read out. The team disembarked, stepping into the thick, humid air of the alien jungle. The ground beneath their boots was soft, almost spongy, and the sounds of alien wildlife filled the air. Chirps, growls, and strange, clicking noises that set everyone on edge.
Stay close, Adrian ordered. We don't know what's so out here.
Tully, however, was already scanning the surrounding flora with wide-eyed fascination. Look at this, he exclaimed, crouching beside a large blue plant with spiny tendrils. The bioluminescence, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. Rioi stood nearby, her weapon drawn, scanning the tree line. Let us keep moving. The sooner we get the data we need, the sooner we can get off this rock. They moved deeper into the jungle, collecting samples and cataloging data. Everywhere they looked, there were new discoveries, strange, glowing insects flitting through the air, massive trees with bark that shimmered like metal, and small quadrupedal creatures that darted through the underbrush, watching them with curious, glowing eyes. Tully was in his element, filling his datapad with notes and samples, but Riai's remained tense, her instincts screaming that something was wrong. Captain, she said quietly, I don't tough like this, the whole place feels off. Adrienne nodded, sharing her unease. The jungle was beautiful, yes, but it was also unnerving in its stillness, as if the entire planet was watching them. We'll finish up and head back. I don't want to stay here any longer than we have to. Just as she spoke, the ground beneath them trembled. It was subtle at first, but then a deep rumbling sound echoed through the jungle. What the hell was that? Dix asked, his hand instinctively going to his sidearm. Adrienne glanced at the scanner on her wrist, the rift set becoming more unstable. We need to move. Tully, however, seemed oblivious to the danger, still engrossed in his work. Just give me a few more minutes. There's so much more we need to. A deafening roar cut him off from the dense foliage ahead. A massive creature emerged, an alien predator unlike anything they had seen before. It stood on 4 muscular legs, its body covered in iridescent scales, and its glowing yellow eyes locked onto them with predatory intent. Move, Reyes shouted, raising her weapon. The team scattered as the creature charged, its jaws snapping with bone-crushing force. Adrena fired her blaster, but the creature's scales deflected the shots. Tex, get us out of here. Tex didn't he need to be told twice. He sprinted back toward the shuttle, but the creature was fast, too fast. It lunged at Tully, who stumbled and fell, his samples scattering across the jungle floor. Rites moved with lightning reflexes, firing a concentrated burst at the creature, It howled in pain, momentarily stunned, giving her just enough time to pull Tully to his feet. Go. They ran toward the shuttle, the ground shaking as the creature pursued them. Dex had already started the engines, the shuttle's thrusters humming to life. Come on, come on. Adrienne was the last to board, slamming the hatch shut just as the creature rammed into the side of the shuttle, rocking it violently. Get us out of here, Dex, she shouted. With a roar of the engines, the shuttle lifted off, narrowly avoiding the creature's snapping jaw. As they ascended into the sky, the predator let out one final enraged howl before disappearing into the jungle below. The shuttle broke through the thick cloud cover, leaving the jungle planet behind. Inside, the atmosphere was tense, the only sound the steady hum of the engines and the labored breathing of the crew. Adrienne Cole leaned back in her seat, eyes closed for a moment, forcing herself to calm down. Her heart still raced from the narrow escape, but she couldn't let the fear show. Not now. Tully was still shaking beside her, clutching the scattered remnants of his precious sample. His face was pale, beads of sweat clinging to his forehead, but his mind was far from regret. We need to go back? Captain, there's so much we left behind. Think of the knowledge we could gain. Adrian glared at him. We almost lost you back there, Tully. This mission isn't worth our life. It could be worth millions, she shot back, defiance and desperation lacing his voice. We could be talking about medical breakthroughs, new energy sources. Enough, Adrian cut him off. How we're getting out of this rift. I don't take care what discoveries are down there. We can risk losing the entire crew. Dex glanced back from the pilot seat, his usually cocky demeanor subdued. I hate to say it, Doc, but the captain says, right, that thing nearly turned you into lunch. And I'd rather not find out if there's anything worse out here. Reese, still gripping her weapon, nodded. We've seen enough. Let's get back to the ship. Tully opened his mouth to argue, but saw the steely resolve in Adriana's eye. He slumped back in his seat, muttering, "You be throwing away a chance at history." Adrian ignored him. Dex plot a course back to the horizon, said Edge.
We're done here.
But just as the words left her mouth, AI Unit 5's voice chimed in over the shuttle, so calm and emotionless as always. Captain, new information detected. The instability of the rift is increasing exponentially. Adriana's stomach dropped. Define exponentially. The rift is collapsing. Captain, I calculate that we have approximately 2 hours before the gravitational anomalies become too severe for safe passage. 2 hours. Dex's eyes widened as he gripped the controls. That's not nearly enough time. Adrian's mind raced. They had barely begun to explore the planets, and now the entire microgalaxy was on the verge of implosion. We need to get out of here. Now full speed back to the ship. The shuttle accelerated, racing toward the coordinates of the horizon, said, as the jungle planet shrank behind them. Adriana's hands tightened on the armrest. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time faster than even Unit 5 predicted. They cleared the atmosphere, the vastness of space stretching out before them. But something was wrong. Instead of the steady, reassuring hum of the engines, there was a sharp, high-pitched whine. The shuttle shuddered violently. What is happening? Adriana demanded, bracing herself as the turbulence increased. Dex's fingers flew over the controls, panic creeping into his voice. The rift's gravitational field, it's pulling us off course. We were getting dragged in deeper. Can you compensate? Reese asked, her voice steady despite the tension.
I'm trying, Dex snapped, but the systems are going haywire. We might have to shut down and reboot.
No time for that. Adriana growled. We can be stuck out here when this whole place collapses. Just then, the shuttle lurched sideways, as if caught in a massive current. Stars streaked by the windows, their light bending and warping in unnatural patterns. Adriana's stomach churned as space itself seemed to twist around them. Brace yourselves, Dex shouted. This is going to be rough. The shuttle hurtled through the rift, spinning wildly out of control. Adriana's vision blurred as she fought to stay conscious, the force of the acceleration pinning her to her seat. Reyes gritted her teeth, holding onto the safety straps with white-knuckled hands. And just as suddenly as it had begun, the turbulence stopped. The shuttle stabilized, the stars outside returning to their familiar positions for a brief, blissful moment. There was silence. Did we make it? Tully asked, his voice trembling. Dex's hands still hovered over the controls, but the panic was gone from his expression. I think, we were clear of the worst of it. Adriana exhaled a long breath, her pulse gradually slowing. Get us back to the ship now. The rest of the journey passed in tense quiet, the crew too shaken by the close call to speak. When the horizon's edge finally came into view, a collective sigh of relief filled the cabin. They docked with the ship, and moments later, the shuttle's side hatch opened, allowing them to disembark. Adriana wasted no time. Unit 5 status report. Gravitational anomalies are spreading across the rift at an accelerated rate. The AI responded. The rift will fully collapse within 1 hour and 45 minutes. Adriana glanced at Reyes, then at Dex. We were leaving. Start prepping the engines for immediate departure. Dex nodded and rushed toward the engine room. Reyes stayed by Adriana's side, her sharp eyes scanning the dimly lit corridors of the ship. I don't like this, Captain. Something feels off. You were not wrong, Adriana said quietly. We never should have come this far. As the crew hurried to their stations, Tully approached Adriana, his face flushed with frustration. Captain, we can't just leave all of that behind. Think about what we've seen, those ecosystems, those creatures. We could change the course of human science. Adriana rounded on him, her voice ice cold. What good is changing the course of science if we were dead, Tully? This whole place is coming down around us, and we barely made it out alive. Do you want to risk another trip into that? Tully opened his mouth to argue, but the look in her eyes silenced him. He stepped back, muttering, "You don't understand, this is bigger than us." Adriana turned her back on him, her mind focused on one thing, getting her crew home alive. She headed toward the bridge, Reyes following closely behind. As they stepped into the command center, The holographic display showed the rift, now a swirling vortex of energy that seemed to grow more chaotic by the minute.
Dex, how are those engines coming? Adrienne asked, her voice clipped with urgency.
Almost there, Cap Dex. Voice crackled over the commas. Just a few more minutes. But those few minutes were quickly running out. The rift outside was growing more violent, waves of energy surging toward the ship, distorting the space around it. The horizon set. Edge began to shake, the hull creaking under the strain. Adrienne gripped the edge of the console, her knuckles white. We don't have much time. I am aware, Dex grumbled, his voice strained as he worked feverishly to stabilize the engines. Just keep the ship together for a few more seconds. The tremors intensified, and Adrienne could feel the ship being pulled toward the rift unit. 5. What size our status? Rift instability at critical levels. The AI responded calmly. I advise immediate departure. Dex Adrienne barked. I am on it, came the reply. A moment later, the ship's sense engines roared to life, and the horizon's sun edge began to pull away from the collapsing rift. The shaking subsided as they gained distance, the vortex of energy shrinking behind them. Weary, clear, Dex finally reported relief evident in his voice. Adrienne slumped back in her seat, exhaustion washing over her. They had made it barely. She glanced at Rise, who gave a curt nod, her expression as hard as ever. But just as Adrienne began to relax, Unit 5 spoke again, its voice devoid of urgency, yet chilling all the same. Captain, I have detected a new anomaly. Sentient life by form. It appears we were not the only ones to emerge from the rift. Adrienne's stomach twisted with dread. She turned toward the view screen just in time to see something flicker into view, an enormous ship, dark and silent, hovering in the distance. Brace yourselves, she whispered. Guys, this isn't over.